In Chapter 4, we looked at a couple of concepts. One of them was the idea of to and from. And in English, we use to and from by putting the words to and from in front of either place words or time words. This works the same in Nihongo. The only big difference is that these words to and from go after the words. So you can have a place like uchi, and you can have a place like gakko, school, or you can have sanji and yoji. Our from, kara, and our unto or our until, made. This works both for time and place. It also works independently in that you don't need both to make a sentence. You can just say gakko made ikimasu, or uchi kara ikimasu, or sanji kara shimasu, sanji made shimasu. A quick other concept we reviewed in Chapter 4 was negative adjectives. In other words, how to make an adjective negative. And when we start with an E adjective, we start with something like sugoi desu. And remembering that in Nihongo, when we want to make something negative, just off with the E for this one and on with a kunai. The same thing happens is the was not. That's what we call our past tense. So, sugo kunakata. And don't forget to add the des. Na adjectives are a little different. As we know, na adjectives never change. So let's pick one of those na adjectives that looks like E adjectives. Let's pick kire. And now we have to make des negative. Two options. De wa nai des or ja nai des. When we put this into the past tense, the same thing happens again. Kire, and now we have to take de wa nai des and we have to make it into the past tense. So de wa na kata des. Don't forget the des, I gotta squeeze it in there. Or ja na kata des. There is one exception as usual, and our exception is good. I desu ne, which is yokunai des or yokunakata des. Another big concept that we looked at in Chapter 4 was how long. The idea of for some hours or for some minutes or for some days. And generally when we do this, it involves the addition of a couple of words onto the end of your time word. So I'm going to look at months, minutes, hours, and let's look at years. When we're using this, you just put your time at the start. So I have 3 minutes or 3 o'clock or 3 years, but now I want to say for 3 o'clock, for 3 minutes or for 3 hours or for 3 years. And I do that by adding kan. Only to hours and years. We do not add kan to minutes. That's a perfect multiple choice question. Not only do we add kan, but we always add gudai, which is the idea of about. So for minutes, it would be sampun gudai. And the minute I see gudai, I know I'm counting for 3 minutes. For 3 hours. Or for 3 years. When you're doing how long it takes to do something, we use a special verb, and that particular verb is kakarimasu. And kakarimasu means to take time, or it also means to take money. So we can say sanji kan gurai kakarimasu. It takes 3 hours to do that. When you ask how long someone has been something, for example, how long someone's been living, and you just change the verb from kakarimasu to whatever it is that you want to have. So I've been living in a place for 3 years. 3nen. I have to count the years, so I need my kan, and I need my gurai. This is a great multiple choice question. For example, we could have ne mashita. And we put a nice little blank there, and we give you options. And we'll have an option like sanji goro, which is 3 o'clock, or sanji kan gurai, or maybe sanji with no ni. And your option and your best choice here is I slept for 4 hours. Sanji doesn't work because you don't have a ni with it at 3 o'clock. So sanji kan gurai ne mashita. This was also a good place in our book to review verbs that take ni. In other words, verbs that we might not think the signal should be ni, but it is. So we have a person, ni. I phone to a person. I have some kind of transport. There's my attempt at a car. Kuruma ni norimasu. We meet a person. Tom-kun ni aimasu. I live in a house. Uchi ni sundemasu. I moved to Japan. Nihon ni hikoshimasu. And I go into a room. Heya ni hairimasu. All of those take ni. We like to ask them on multiple choice tests because we want to see if you remember that the correct signal for these is ni.